This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
I'm Larrue.
I'm Nyarly.
And Spencer's here with us in spirit. As you can see, his freeze frame, and he had to leave the podcast. And it's going to be weird going back to Monday, and then he's here on Tuesday and Wednesday, which he's there for the whole episodes. And out of whatever. It's all good.
Yeah.
But today is Throwback Thursday, and before we talk about Tokyo Mirage Session FE and all of Nyarly's thoughts and opinions and LaRue's thoughts and opinions on the game as a whole, why don't you guys tell me about your channels?
So, my name's Larrue. I mostly cover Megaton stuff, deep dives into the lore and the mythos, the staff who made the games. Sometimes I go out and I'll talk about other Atlas things or even just weird movies that I'm a fan of. But that's pretty much me in a nutshell, I would say.
Cool. Yeah, definitely go subscribe. youtube.com/LARRUE. Real easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I also do Megaton content, like discussion videos, lore videos, sometimes challenge runs, stuff like that.
And he's got a pretty unique narration in the Megaten space. I don't hear very many people with Nyarly's voice in the Megaten space.
Yeah.
And then there's Spencer here with us in spirit, youtube.com/torchwood4sp. It makes no sense, but subscribe anyways.
I think it came from Terraria.
No, it was a show.
All right, we're gonna Google it.
Yeah, I could swear Torch. Could you explain it to me before?
Oh wait, when you Google that, it always comes up for him. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a Doctor Who thing. That's where Torchwood comes from.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember. He told me. I don't know why I thought Terraria.
Torchwood sounds like a Terraria thing.
A British science fiction television program created by Russell T Davies, a spin-off from the 2005 revival of Doctor Who. There you go.
Oh.
So
That's
Torchwood.
Okay.
Now the real question is, why is the 4SP on there? Spencer will never tell me. It's all good. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure he'd probably tell us and he'd give us a good half-hour conversation about it. All right. So we're going to talk about Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE for Throwback Thursday. And as always on the Throwback Thursdays, I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of the information. And then as soon as I get through it, this word vomit's all done, then we'll talk. So Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE is a 2015 crossover role-playing game developed by Atlas and published by Nintendo for the Wii U home console. The Wii U, the best-selling Nintendo console ever, of course. The game combines gameplay, narrative, and aesthetic elements from Atlas's Shin Megami Tensei and Nintendo's Fire Emblem series, but it really feels more like Persona. It was released in Japan in December 2015 and worldwide in June 2016. An enhanced port for the Nintendo Switch, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE Encore, was released on January 17, 2020. That's this year we're in right now. Taking place in modern-day Tokyo and featuring real-life locations such as Shibuya, which I always pronounce like booyah, and I can't pronounce that word. Harajuku? Is that it right?
Harajuku, yeah.
Okay. The game centers around hostile beings known as Mirages who seek to harvest energy known as Performa, which sounds like Persona, from humans and are responsible for several disappearances. The story follows a group of teenagers who become allied with friendly Mirages based on characters from the Fire Emblem series, which I also love, and merge with them to become Mirage Masters. Under the guise of the Fortuna Entertainment talent agency, the Mirage Masters fight to protect innocent people from the Mirages and find out who's behind the attacks. The game was first proposed by Nintendo, which is an important fact. Producer Kaori Ando, did I say that right? Who envisioned a crossover between Fire Emblem and the Shin Megami Tensei series. Although initially reluctant due to their workload, Atlas agreed to the collaboration, and much of the early work went into deciding what the genre of the game was going to be and how best to incorporate both series while creating an original game. The production period was 5 years, and it was a notable feature was the musical numbers were produced by Japanese entertainment company Avex Group. So now that we know all of that word vomit I just threw out at you guys with a private window, which I probably should have put something on the screen for entertainment purposes because my voice is pretty dry sometimes. What do you guys remember about the launch release announcement of Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE?
Well, I mean, I don't think it would be unreasonable to say that the real experience with Tokyo Mirage Sessions is more what led up to it than the actual game itself. Because I remember, like, you know, like 2012 was the year I was getting into Persona and Megaton, So then when they they showed the direct where they revealed the game, I'm like, oh holy shit, this is gonna be the best game ever. And then we got radio silence for 2.5 years. Then I woke up to the announcement of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I at first thought was an April Fool's joke, but then I'm like, this is real. This is the crossover they came up with. So
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well maybe it'll still be a good game. Then I didn't really have a lot of interest in it when it came out on the Wii U. But then a couple years later we got it, or 4 to be exact, we got it on the Switch and I played it. I'm like, this game's alright.
So I will
Fair
say
enough.
this. The reveal of this game hit me about as badly as the reveal of Nintendo porting
Dude.
the original Fire Emblem game to the Switch when we already have that game ported to the DS and we don't have Roy's game ported to a modern console.
Well, since you're on the trailer right now, look at the comments.
Oh yeah, they're great. I forgot about that. Hold on. This there's like a whole bunch of this aged poorly.
I think
Wait,
my
what's the-
favorite one is "This is why I have trust issues."
Yeah. There appears to have been a fusion accident featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. They trolled everybody hard. Idols were a mistake. It still hurts to imagine what could have been. Cries for what could have been. Anime was a mistake. Oh god. Biggest bait and switch, thanks Atlas. Too bad it was canceled. And the game was never heard from again. Let's see here. Let's see. You were there's a lot of you meant to be the chosen one. Hold on. What was the one you said?
There was this one that was the top comment for a while. It said, "This is why I have trust issues."
It was probably removed. I guess Nintendo is really good about like not censoring, but removing comments they don't like. Let's see.
Yeah.
Here. This aged like milk in the summer heat that has been out for 7 years. It's a trap. The most poorly aged trailer in gaming history.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that Tokyo Mirage Sessions was like a bad game or a bad idea for a game. It's just more. I just don't think it needed to be a crossover between SMT and Fire Emblem. It could have been something else.
Honestly, the thing to me is, and I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan and Persona fan. Like, I've been a Fire Emblem fan far longer than I was a Persona fan. Fire Emblem since 2003. So when I saw the potential of this game plus Persona, my most recent kind of foray into new games for me was Persona, and I really went hard into it. When I found out about this game, I was like, oh yeah, I want this. And I realized what it was, and I was like, this isn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think me and Nyarly have talked about this a little bit, but I pinned the blame squarely on Nintendo.
Oh yeah, it's their fault, 100%.
They did this weird interview post-release where they talk about the development. You touched on it a bit in your intro to the game.
Yeah.
Where they wanted to make a game collaboration with Atlas, but the real story is they were going to make they wanted to do a collaboration with Pokemon.
Yeah.
But then Conquest was announced, and they were like, okay, well that's like we shouldn't do that anymore. And then Atlas was the sloppy seconds, and they were like, we could still do a collaboration, guys. Let's do it. And that came out, and when you listen to like when you read the way they talk about it, it sounds more like Nintendo was like, okay, Atlas, make the game exactly how we envision it. And when Atlas talks about wanting to do like SRPG and stuff, they're like, no, we want something more that's in line with like what you're like known for. And it all makes sense, and it comes together to be like, that's why this game is more Persona than SMT. That's why this game is kind of lacking the polish, because it has behind it the minds who did Devil Survivor, hyper competent SRPG creators, and instead of getting anything, we got that, and it hurts. But I do think it's a fine game. It's a well built game. It's just not a game I wanted, but I would have really liked to have seen what Alice would have done without like Nintendo's supervision.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there were these people that were working on a fan game, which I was messaging on Twitter a little while ago, but I think their accounts got deleted, so I haven't been able to contact them since.
It'd be interesting because the thing that I forgot his name, but the guy that was either directing or producing, like from Atlas, that had the primary. He was like the primary Atlas side of it. He makes really good SRPGs, and he has a really good understanding of gameplay. Because when you read his Devil Survivor interviews, it sounds like he thinks really like critically about how to make a game engaging without it being like formulaic or being just like all the other games.
Yeah.
So it's pretty disappointing because there are things that Tokyo Mirage Sessions does well. Like I like the dungeon designs, and I like the idea of the battle system, but it's just really bogged down by like really long battle animations. Like the Performa thing, it's like super long.
They sped it up in the Switch version, but it's still kind of long.
And it, like I used to love that when I played like Final Fantasy VII. Like I loved like the weird cool summon animations where like Bahamut would come through the sky and But then when you see sorry,
well, I was gonna say are you talking about like Supernova when like
any of those like
it destroys the entire solar system.
Exactly. I used to love that, but then it doesn't feel that way in this game. It just feels like they like the idea of making some big, cool, epic thing, but it's just not that. And you have to see it every time you do it.
See, I almost feel like this game would have worked much better if they had incorporated the dungeon crawling elements of Persona with the strategy RPG elements of Fire Emblem. Had like mini grid battles instead of Persona-esque or Shin Megami Tensei turn-based battles. Kind of like Echo's Shadows of Valencia. Or like some of these other games you're mentioning, Nyarly.
Have you ever played Koudelka?
Can you spell that for me? I'm sorry.
Koudelka.
I don't think I have then. Let's see.
Well, it's basically like what you were just describing. Like it's got dungeon crawling, but then when you enter battle, you go into this like mini grid thing.
Yeah, or even if they had a mix of the grid from Persona 1 and the Fire Emblem grid somehow. Yeah. Where you could like move your characters across the grid, like because the Persona 1 battle system would kind of mix with Fire Emblem if you did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just weird because the thing that when it comes down to it, if you ask me what the two things if this game feels the most like, it kind of reminds me of Digital Devil Saga a lot. Like the dungeon design and even some of the battle mechanics feel like Digital Devil Saga, but not in a good way because it's like a worse version of Digital Devil Saga.
Yeah.
It kind of laid the groundwork for like the loading screens for Persona 5. A lot of the art style I feel like was a lead in to Persona 5. And it's on a console that you would never get Persona 5 on, which is it's also kind of weird. Here, let's experiment for Persona 5 on this dead console, the Wii U.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like, though. It's just like, let's just do this dry run.
Break free Persona 5 on Wii U.
Oh god, yes.
Persona 5 on the RCA Studio 2.
Can you imagine if Atlas just trolled everybody on April 1st next year and said, "All right, guys, we're putting Persona 5 on a Nintendo console, the Wii U."
They just announce it for everything except the Switch. Like Persona 5 on PS2, Persona 5 on Dreamcast, Persona 5 on the Magnavox Odyssey.
As long as it's on Steam, that's all that matters.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if it went to Steam before the Switch.
I think based on the Persona 4 sales, I think that they're gonna owe it. They're like Steam is high priority now.
Oh yeah, make a quick buck on something that doesn't take that much work, and a lot of fans appreciate it. Why not? There's no loss.
Exactly.
I think the Switch is a harder console to develop for than Steam will ever be.
Yeah. Truth. I've never heard so much truth in such a short period of time.
So I think the biggest thing here is this game was ported to the Switch, and there's actually like 3 technical versions of this game in my opinion, because you got the original Japanese version that didn't have all the censorship when it came to North America. You've got the censored North American version, and now you've got the worldwide Switch release version, which they censored all copies and added some bonus content that is a little bit disputable as bonus content, but it is there.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is most complete?
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Which version is the most complete version in your mind?
the first release, the Japanese one with the Gravier dungeon for like if you don't know what that is, Gravier is like the mature modeling, and they changed that dungeon to like her being unsure about whether or not she likes or she's
It was
like,
a hip hop
okay
thing, wasn't it?
yeah, and it was super dumb. They made it focus about a creepy photographer, and it's dumb because the Gravier dungeon was about her accepting herself, and if that was an important aspect of Tsubasa's character, they really just decided like let's just change it for the sake of protecting her at the cost of the story. And like I don't really care to see skimpy anime girl, but I think that when it's telling a story,
It's a focal
it's
part of the
important.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important for her, and it makes her character worse by not having that part.
It's almost like if you took Persona 4 Gold and then changed Risei's dungeon.
Yeah, you were just like, hey, this is a little sus. Let's instead of doing that, let's have Risei be afraid of wearing hip hop clothes.
Yeah.
Because Risei would fit into Tokyo Mirage Sessions world. I feel like.
What I don't get is why, like, for the Switch version, they brought it back. Because, I mean, the reason they did it for the Wii U is because that was when Nintendo, like, that was when they thought, for some reason, that they had to, like, censor stuff. But they went back on that for when they started making games for the Switch. So I don't know why they couldn't just, like, keep the original version.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was an odd choice.
This is just a free guess, but I'm guessing it's because Alice did the translation. Like there was some like weird legal reason they couldn't do it because
Maybe.
even though Alice did the translation for the Wii U version, it was still published by Nintendo, so it still had to like get the Treehouse like approval before it could be like be greenlit. And then when they released it for the Switch, like Alice just didn't want to like bother with whatever like payments or whatever.
I mean, that's possible.
The whole thing is tricky because even the music itself is made by that big Japanese pop studio. I think Avex, you said?
Yeah, Avex.
And
that's
I'm
right.
like, who knows if that is a factor too.
That's a good point.
I don't understand the choice, but I do. The thing that stands out to me is the part where once that was announced that it was gonna be censored across the board, the pre-orders dropped in Japan.
Yeah.
and then the sales for TMS on the Wii U skyrocketed in Japan.
Yeah.
And it made like top. It was like #1 spot on the Wii U sales chart for like as soon as they announced that, and I thought that was really hilarious. But it's also like kind of sad when people just go, "I'd rather play the old version."
It's funny you say that because Nintendo, when they've re-released games, especially Pikmin 3 is the most famous case, they've actually dumped the eShop on the Wii U version. It's like Pikmin 3 on the Wii U was $20, and as soon as they announced Pikmin 3 Deluxe on the Switch, the Pikmin 3 on the Wii U it doesn't exist anymore. You can't get it on the eShop. It's just gone.
Smart. It's smart. It's kind of
surprised they didn't do that with Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah.
So, do you think they did it justice with the remake? What's your guys' opinion?
I've never played the remake. Mine is still sealed. Because I'm like, I've already played this game twice. I played the Japanese release, and then I played the Wii U, the American release. And I have both, the collector's editions for both, but they're exactly the same looking.
Yeah.
I promise you they're different. I liked what I played, especially the Japanese version. It's a fine game, and it felt really good on the Wii U. Like, it's what sold that the Wii U was a good console for me. Because
That's why I bought the Wii U.
Really?
Yeah. As soon as that got announced, I bought a Wii U.
I was like, as soon as it got announced, I was like, hey, can I borrow your Wii U for a week?
I'm probably like that one person in the demographic that's like, I'm gonna buy a Wii U for this one title. That's so like nobody else would probably buy a Wii U for this game except me.
Hey, it crossed over both of your franchises.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely did. How about what do you think, Nyarly? I know you did a review on this game. Did it do it justice?
I mean, I don't think there's enough new content to warrant a $60 purchase, but like if you want to play it and you didn't play the Wii U version, it's like, yeah, sure.
Now,
Yeah.
in regards to a remake, how much content versus Persona 5 Royal do you get in this game?
Not much.
Yeah, that's
Like
what
a
I thought.
percentage. Yeah, but is there like a number you toss it?
I mean, you get like some new costumes and like the new like kind of dungeon area, but that's about it.
Yeah, it wasn't. There's no story continuation, correct? The dungeon was just kind of a bonus thing you could go and fight in.
Pretty much. I
Oh,
mean, like
that's-
there's like some dialogue and some cutscenes, but like it's not like it's not like anything huge.
So
Damn.
you get like the addition that Persona 3 and 5 Dancing gave to the 3 and 5 games.
Yeah.
We need that dancing lore.
Anyways, do you guys have anything else you want to say about Tokyo Mirage Sessions?
Shame that it exists the way it exists.
I mean, I think it's not too late if they wanted to make a true crossover, but they're probably not going to.
Oh, Toki or Tiki, that was like the worst part. Sorry.
From a
I'm like-
gameplay standpoint, I think this game's decent from a gameplay standpoint.
Mhm.
There is a story there. It doesn't appeal to everybody, but it's there. And there are some Fire Emblem references for those that like that, like myself. But I didn't think they did Fire Emblem justice. It just feels like an Atlas game.
Like I wouldn't even call it a crossover. I'd say it's more like a new
Skins.
thing that just is inspired by SMT
Yeah, it's
Fire
like a
Emblem.
collaboration because
With,
like-
everything feels like references to either franchises. There's a lot of
It's like
weird-
fan service.
fan
basically.
service.
Yeah.
That's a perfect
I
word.
enjoyed the game. I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed it enough to keep it for the Wii U and keep my Wii U to play this game up until they release it on the Switch. And now I'm just a holdout because I'm stubborn. So I have my Wii U still, and I still have this game, and I refuse to buy the new game.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as like Xenoblade Chronicles X and Fatal Frame get ported to Switch, my Wii U is going on my porch
Tell it to
for a
me.
garage
Tell
sale.
it to me. write your name on it. And
And
sell it
Gnarly's
to
gonna
me.
sign it. Sell it to Larrue. Anyways.
Or just write your sub count on it.
All right. As always, I'm Chris.
I'm Larrue.
I'm Nyarly.
I'm Spencer. And we will see you on the next CHRILLCAST. Bye, guys.